Hi again, guys, and CM here, back again with another tank review. This time going over the new Polish Tier 8 Premium Heavy. I figured I might as well get a review of this done since I've been playing it quite a bit, and we've got the Polish tech tree coming up in the next patch. So this tank, I've had a really good time with it myself, but it's somewhat of a hybrid tank, and I'll show you why in just a moment. But starting off with the armor, you've got a pretty damn nice turret. It does have some weak spots against, against premium ammo, but generally it's pretty tough frontally. Some weaker spots like here, roughly, yeah, right there. So they're pretty damn small. So they're probably not going to hit them. You do have a cupola. It is pennable, but it's also tiny. And you do have a 40mm turret roof in quite a large area as well, which can be overmatched by anything over 120. But again, that's not a huge problem with this tank. I've not had that part overmatched by anything when I've been playing this tank, so there's that. Hull armor, you do have a decent hull frontally. Also, don't mind tanks.gg because, yeah, they've still not fixed their model. But I think that's more down to them struggling with the 1.0 with the way 1.0 saves the files for the tanks. Anyway, so you do have decent frontal armor. You can see the upper plate here is pretty damn strong. Some pretty crazy angles on it. These two plates here are 110mm angled at an auto bounce, and yeah, nothing's going through those unless they get to shoot down on them, of course, but that's not really gonna happen. You've got these two parts here of 100mm, which again, they're auto bounces for pretty much everything, unless you angle. You've got these two parts here, 170, to give you about 220, 230 effective. And the driver's hatch is 170, once again for about 230, 240 effective. And then you've got the parts where the turret ring is, which sit mostly like, well, 50-50. It's a partially like non-pen here, and then you've got this whole part here which can be penned. And then of course you got your lower plate, which is 110mm for about anywhere between 170 and 190 effective, depending where it is and what the angle is. So the hull, before I move back onto the turret for your hull down shit, the hull, if you angle it, this part will become weaker. As you can see, it does become quite weak, 150, 160 effective there. And the turret ring here will become very, very weak. So side scraping this is quite a risk. You don't really want to be doing that. Even though you do have enough side armor for it, you've got 90mm on the side there, and 140 on the upper side there. You don't really want to be doing it, because it's like the FV215B at tier 10. That tank has shoulders that come out from the turret ring, and yeah, it's the exact same as that. But even though tracking this tank and damaging it, at least with the front drive wheels, is very, very difficult, you don't really want to be doing this too much. This is very much a tank that is at home when it's hull down, even though it is fairly strong in a brawl because of how the armor is laid out, there being only the... If you're up close with someone, generally the only place they can shoot you is the driver's hatch, but even then, if you were covering that with your gun, you can do, then it's not too bad. As generally people just can't be bothered to aim for a cupola, or they don't really think about the overmatched spot. So generally in a face hug situation, they will try and shoot here. You can lower your gun to compensate for that, and they will really struggle to go through. Especially if you're against another one of these, if you're face hugging one of your own, you can bear that in mind. Moving on to the turret, if you're using all your gun depression, then you're which you do have 10 degrees of over the sides. So if you're aiming like this, you do have 10 degrees all the way around to about here. You do have 8 degrees over the front, of course, so it's still pretty good. Just beware that, obviously, the driver's hatch and this wedge, I'm going to call it, where the driver sits, will limit the gun depression to 8 degrees over there. So if you want to get the most out of this tank, yeah, you want to be like this. So this tank, armor-wise, is definitely going to be best in the hands of someone who knows their positions where they can go hull down, use all their gun depression to their advantage, so then they can hide any weak spots like the cupola, like the overmatched spot on the roof. Still, even if you're having to go forwards to use your gun depression, you can still get quite a lot out of it. Of course, you do still have that 8 degrees. Do that, so then you can see a bit like this. And at this angle, the driver's hatch does become very strong indeed. It does have these weak spots here still, but overall your armor just gets far, far better. Moving on, the gun. It's a 122mm gun. It is very similar to the gun on the Defender, which is also a 440 Alpha gun, much like this. But in exchange for better rate of fire, better gun handling, this tank does sacrifice some penetration. It only gets 218mm of pen on AP and 245 on premium, whereas the Defender gets 225 on AP and 265 on premium APCR. So you do have to bear that in mind. The shell velocity, however, is actually pretty nice on AP on this tank. It's 1007 meters a second shell velocity on AP, and APCR of 1259, so that's pretty damn nice. So the gun is solid, even if it's lacking pen. You'll generally find that you can get yourself into situations where it doesn't really matter. I've always found that I run out of AP before I even have to worry about APCR, so there's that. Moving on to the mobility, it is a little sluggish. It only goes 35 kilometers an hour as its top speed, 14 in reverse, 750 horsepower, which gives you a power to weight of 14, which is enough to get you where you need to go. It's not fast by any means, even though this tank I feel is somewhere between a heavy and a medium overall, but maybe a bit more towards the heavy still. You do have 1500 hit points, which is it's average for tier 8. It's kind of all you need. But what I like about this tank is the combination of the gun depression, decent mobility, the turret armor, especially. Well, in fact, the armor all around is pretty good. And then the view range. This is something that is lacking on the Defender, which is one of the main competitor tanks for this one. Now, the Defender only has 350 base view range. This has 380, so this can spot for itself, especially if you get all your view range skills for your crew. You get brothers in arms, you get yourself your optics and your food. You'll end up with about 470 meters view range, which is very nice. And you'll see this coming into play in the match that I'm going to show you guys. So, with all that in mind, let's move on to the replay. So, we're here on Prokhorovka. It's a tier 9 match. This is the second game I ever played in this tank. It was my first ace. So, there's only one artillery, so we're going to go straight into the middle. So I always feel that controlling the middle on Prokhorovka these days is far more valuable than controlling the hill, because it gives you options to move between either flank. It lets you shoot towards people on the one line, you can move over and shoot towards people on the hill. So I do feel you have more options that way. And this tank is fantastic for controlling the middle because of that turret armor, that gun depression, and enough view range to spot for itself. It can work the hill, because it does have the gun depression to do it. However, I feel that it being a heavy and lacking the camo, it's not the best one to do so, because generally you want something with camo so that it doesn't get instantly spotted when it's trying to counter spot the hill. So here we find the mod 1, we find the 705, and we spot the Lerva. You can see the gun handling on this tank working as intended, just planting a shot into the Lerva lower plate. And we reload and we just go for the blind shot, take our time. That actually goes in, even though it looked like something bounced off in there. That was one of my allies from the hill shooting him, it looked like. We also got some spotting on him there. We've got the 705 in front of us here. We are also spotting the T10 to our left. I'm also trying to bear in mind that there is an LTTB lurking somewhere and an M4190 somewhere as well. The LTTB actually kills our Ferdinand, who was lurking on the one line. We spot the standard B there, just blast him in the face. Get a little bit of spotting on their T54, who we spotted as well, and a little bit on the standard B once again. Now, this 705 has made a grave error in trying to poke with his rear-mounted turret tank, and he's just lost all his hit points for it, and there he goes. All the way down to 202. Is anyone going to pick him up? Not quite. Though I don't think he'll be interested in doing that again. We see the standard B again, he wants a bit more. And yeah, that's what happens. People who do that against this tank when it's hull down. Mod 1 is trying to peek and spot, it looks like. Not really having any luck. There's the Lerva coming back for more. He's gone. Picked up by the guys on the hill. Just looking over to see what I can shoot right now. The WZ-132 is on the hill. He is on G9 there. We ping our team to let them know there's someone there. He does bounce off because at range this hull is kind of troll. And of course you've got the turret as well. So for a gun like the one on the 132, it is difficult. Pen. We do take a hit from the Progetto, who is over on H1. He is hiding in a bush, so it is difficult for us to spot him. We do spot the TVP, however, and we put a shot into him and get a little bit of spotting as well. Looks like the T-54 hit him and high rolled. You see the Mod 1 trying to run, so we decide to put a shot into him. Nice shot into the back of his tank there. We're also bearing in mind that the Progetto is still around unspotted. But it looks like this T-54 is not paying any attention, so we put one into the back of his turret since, well, I mean, nothing is stopping us. And you can see that even though it's not got the best reload time and there have been a few gaps between my shots, that we're building up the damage pretty decently here. We tracked the Mod 1 as well. Was hoping for a damaging and tracking shot there. A bit unlucky that we didn't get it, but you know, these things happen. I'll take it anyway. The Progetto is still on H1. He's just out of spotting range. Obviously the T10 was what was spotting us there. T-54 spotted once again, heading towards where the Mod 1 was last seen. So we decide that we've got to get rid of this Progetto. We've got to get rid of the LTDB, who has not been spotted for a while now. So I'm lurking here, seeing what I can find, seeing if we get spotted by anything. And we do. There's the M4190. He's trying to go in on the T-54. So T-54 tries to take a shot. The TVP breaks our viewports. I actually fixed those because there we go. That's what I wanted to see. I wanted to spot the LTDB. I wanted to spot the Progetto. And with broken optics, I would not have been able to do so. And with that guy there, I decided to try and take a shot. I should not have really bothered here. I should have maybe relocated to try and kill the LTDB as he goes in on the T-54. I don't even know why the T-54 is pulling back here. He seems to be scared of the LTDB. I don't really know why he is, because it's an LTDB versus a T-54. I'll let you guys figure out which one is most likely to win that engagement. And it's a full health T-54 as well, so, you know, or was full health. He's taken that one hit, it looks like. Maybe 2 hits from the LTDB instead of 1. There's the LTDB. Is the T-54 going to go after him? Nope. He is not. Enemy T-54 spotted in the middle again. We get a little bit of spotting on him. The guys on the hill take him down. 257 and the T-10 are poking the middle ridge, but I know I need to get across here. I need to make sure this LTDB and the TVP, I need to make sure they go down. TVP ate cheeses, doesn't pen, obviously, so it doesn't do very much. The 257, however, does get a shot on us, which is kind of awkward. But we just need to make sure that this side goes down. The guys on the hill do manage to put a shot into the 257. We do get the spotting for it. Now that's the LTDB spotting us now. As you can see, he's put a shot into us. He actually gets a second one right here, or tries to get a second one. T-54 is finally going in again. There's the LTDB. He's trying to get another shot. Greed gets the better of him. Progetto puts a shot into our side, but bounces off the back, which was an auto bounce. We get a bit of spotting on him. And now we're just trying to make sure that we can keep these guys away. We know the WZ is still on the hill. We know the Scorpion's on the hill. We know the 257 and the T10 are still in the middle. 4190 pops up. The angle that he had, he either tried to shoot our turret or our hull, but the angle he had wasn't quite correct, so he must have hit the front of our turret, and that was always going to be a bounce for AP from his tank. And we shot him down. So the T-54, having finally found, his bottle of vodka, he has now drank it. He has now got the courage to press W to try and get rid of this Progetto, who is now pulling back. We're just trying to crawl forwards and support versus the Progetto. We get a little extra spotting. We're sharing that with the T-54 right now. Looking at the T-10, realize he's on the other side of the tracks. Bit of a waste of time there, but we shut down the Progetto. Now it is just the Scorpion and the WZ on the hill. So they're just going to get cleaned up by the guys who are on the hill, or were around the hill. There goes the WZ, there goes the Scorpion, and that is the game. So that was my ace tanker. That was my first ace in this tank. Whole load of ribbons came with this one. I'm not even going to bother reading all these ones out. There were just so many of them from one match. We also got the Spartan medal for ricocheting a shot on low health. Of course, we got the high caliber for our 5,294 damage. Steel wall, Confederate, and tank sniper. Got 1,592 base XP, 3 kills, and we blocked just over 2,000 damage, but we took a total of 16 shots, which was enough for the steel wall. It seems like not many people this match blocked much in the way of damage, or took many hits in general. We got almost 3,500 assistance, so that was a pretty damn nice 8.7k combined match. So we made a really nice profit here. We didn't spend any money on consumables because I had some spare in the depot. So that gave us a profit of over 155,000 credits with no boosters. So you can imagine if you had a 50% booster on, that would have been another extra, what, 70,000 on top of that? That would have been pretty damn nice. But this game I was playing pretty late, so it was after work, so I was like, you know what, I got this, I'm going to try it out after work for like 2 matches, and hey-oh, it worked out. We would have also made a profit without running a premium account. Obviously, with the price of consumables here, that would maybe not have been as much, but still would have made a nice profit regardless, and we came out with a total XP of of just over 2,600, so pretty damn nice. So, what do I think of this tank? Well, I feel that this is a tank that will be best in the hands of people that know how to use their positions, that know basically how to deal with the weaker tanks first, and can deal with the more heavily armored ones later, or even getting themselves into positions where they can stay hull down, and they can take down the heavier tanks from the side or via weak spots. Like, for example, the Leva there does have far better armor frontally than this tank, but does have that lower plate weak spot that we can exploit, as an example. Of course, Japanese heavies from tier 9 up. Well, the tier 9 and 10 Japanese heavies are a bit of a problem for this tank, but you will often find that there are situations that you can exploit that make this quite deadly against those as well, because you often find that if they have to if they're on an open map like this, they're often trying to face their armor towards a greater number of tanks. So if you get yourself into a position where you can shoot them in the side, which you will get the opportunity for, you can do it. You can take them down. And of course, if you're using your hull down positions to take down their support tanks first, then you will also have a good time, like taking down the mediums, the lights, any of the TDs first, and of course the weaker heavies. That's always a good thing to do with this tank. And it's definitely capable of doing so. Sure, it has a slightly longer reload, which can make it vulnerable to the higher DPM mediums. So definitely keeping things at kind of your medium range is what you want to be doing, which is what we did this match. There wasn't really a whole lot of up-close personal brawling going on against mediums. However, this thing can do well in city maps if it gets the chance to. Mainly a support role, but again, it can do it. It can manage. So I'll leave it at that. Hope you guys enjoyed this review. Let me know what you guys think of this tank. How many of you guys have played it? Let me know. And let me know if you're looking forward to the Polish tech tree. So I might do a test server stream later in the week when I'm free. See what is going on with the whole line. So anyway, thanks for watching guys, and I will see you next time.